there is a sound that only a quiet kitchen makes. The small click of a cabinet door. The hum of the refrigerator. A fork touching one plate. Water running in the sink. A chair being pulled out. Even though only one person is sitting down. And if you eat alone most days, you know that sound. You may not talk about it. You may not call it loneliness. You may not even think about it every time. You make the toast. You warm the soup. You cut the fruit. You put something simple on a plate. And then you sit down. Or maybe you do not sit down anymore. Maybe you stand at the counter. Maybe you eat over the sink. Maybe you leave the television on. Maybe you close the door to your bedroom. So the room does not feel so empty. Maybe you scroll through your phone between bites. Maybe you tell yourself, it is just me, so it does not matter. But some days, it does matter. Some days, a meal for one feels heavier than it should. Not because the food is bad, but because there is no one across from you saying, pass the salt. No one asking, how was your day? No one telling a story you have heard before. No one making a little too much noise with the dishes. No one reaching for the last piece of bread. No one sitting in the chair. That still seems to belong to someone, even if they have been gone a long time. Eating alone can be peaceful. Let us be honest about that, too. Sometimes it is nice not to plan around anyone else. Sometimes it is nice to eat what you want when you want. Sometimes the quiet is a relief. But eating alone most days is different. When breakfast is alone, lunch is alone, dinner is alone, and then the next day is the same. After a while, the quiet at the table can begin to feel like a message. You are on your own now. And that is a hard message to hear every day. So if you are over 65 and you eat alone most days, this is for you. Not because you need pity. Not because your life is small. Not because eating alone means you have failed. This is for you. Because meals are not only about food. They are about being witnessed. For much of your life, food may have been tied to other people. Packing lunches, making breakfast before work, setting a table, keeping track of who liked what, saving the bigger piece for someone else, making a pot of coffee because somebody would want the second cup, cooking too much because family might stop by, remembering allergies, favorites, habits, complaints, little preferences. You may have spent years feeding other people, and not just with food. You fed them with care, with attention, with, God, take some more, with, I made this because I know you like it, with, sit down, I'll fix you a plate, with, tell me what happened, with the kind of love that does not always announce itself as love. It just puts dinner on the table. And now, some days, you look at one plate and wonder where all that care is supposed to go. That is the part people do not always understand. It is not only the eating, it is the absence around the eating, the missing conversation, the missing routine, the missing reason to make the recipe the old way, the missing person who would have said, "This needs a little more pepper." Maybe you still cook the same dish, but it tastes different now. Maybe you stopped making certain meals because they belonged too much to someone else. Maybe there's a recipe card in a drawer with handwriting you cannot look at for too long. Maybe there is a mug you do not use, but cannot give away. Maybe you still buy a certain brand out of habit, even though the person who liked it is no longer there. Love leaves itself in kitchens, in chipped bowls, in old pans, and the smell of onions cooking, in the tablecloth folded in the drawer, in the chair no one uses, in the way your hand reaches for 2 plates, before your mind remembers. And when that happens, please do not scold yourself. Do not say, "I should be over this."
Do not say.
It is silly to feel sad over dinner. It is not silly. A table can hold years. A meal can carry memory. A chair can become a place where love still echoes. If dinner is sometimes the hardest part of the day, there is nothing wrong with you. Evening has a way of making loneliness louder. In the morning, there may be chores, appointments, errands, light coming through the windows, a reason to move. But dinner often asks a quieter question. Who is with me at the end of the day? And when the answer is no one, the heart may ache. Not every night, but enough nights. Enough that you may begin to make dinner smaller. A piece of toast, a bowl of cereal, crackers, leftovers eaten cold, something quick. Because cooking for one feels like too much trouble. And again, there is no shame in simple meals. Some days, simple is all we have energy for. But I want to gently say something. You are still worth feeding well. Even if no one is coming over. Even if no one says, "That smells good." Even if no one thanks you. Even if the table is quiet. Your body has carried you through more than anyone can see. It has carried grief, work, childbirth, maybe illness, maybe long days, hard news, private worries, years of showing up. When you were tired, that body still deserves care. A meal for one is still a real meal. A plate made for yourself is still an act of dignity. Sitting down is still worth doing. You do not have to cook a feast. You do not have to set a perfect table. But maybe tonight or tomorrow, you can try not to treat yourself like an afterthought. Use the bowl you like. Put the food on a plate. Sit in the chair. Pour the drink. Light the small lamp. Open the curtain. Or close it. If the dark feels kinder, let the room know that someone important is eating here. Because someone is. You are. And I know that may sound small, but when life has quietly taught you to expect less, Small acts of care can become a way of saying, I have not forgotten myself. There is another thing I want to say to you, especially if you used to share meals with someone you loved. You do not have to erase them from the table in order to keep living. Some people think healing means the empty chair should stop hurting. But maybe healing is more tender than that. Maybe healing is learning how to sit at the table with both things true. I miss you. And I still need to eat. I wish you were here. And I am still here. I remember our life. And I will care for the life I have now. That is not betrayal. That is survival, with love still in it. You might speak their name before you eat. Not every day, only when you need to. You might say, you would have liked this. You might smile at the old complaint they always made. You might make the recipe once in a while, even if it hurts a little. You might let the memory sit with you for a few minutes, then gently return to the present. Grief does not always need to be pushed away from the table. Sometimes it just needs its own chair for a little while. But it does not get to take your chair. You are still here, and your place still matters. If eating alone has made you feel forgotten, I hope you will be careful with that thought. A quiet table can make the mind say painful things. No one needs me. No one thinks of me. It would not matter if I skip dinner. I am just filling time. But those thoughts are not the whole truth. They are loneliness speaking in the language of certainty. And loneliness is not always a reliable narrator. The truth may be softer. You miss being expected. You miss being asked about your day. You miss having a reason to cook the good meal. You miss the casual comfort of another person's presence. You miss being part of the ordinary rhythm of someone else's life. That is not weakness. That is human. You were made for more than silent survival. You were made for warmth, for conversation, for small rituals, for giving and receiving care, for hearing someone laugh while the dishes are still on the table. And even if your meals are mostly alone right now, that part of you has not died. It may be quiet. It may be tired. It may be afraid to ask for anything. But it is still there. So perhaps the question is not, how do I stop eating alone? That may be too big for today. Perhaps the gentler question is, how can I bring one thread of connection back to the table? Just one. Maybe you call someone before dinner. Not after the loneliness has already grown too large. Maybe you send a message that says, I'm having soup tonight, and it made me think of the old days. Or, I wish we could share a meal soon. No pressure, just wanted to say it. Or, I'm eating dinner now, and sending you love from my little table. Maybe you ask a neighbor to come for coffee, not a full meal. Coffee feels easier. A slice of toast, a cookie, a few minutes at the table, maybe once a week. You eat somewhere with people around, A diner. A church lunch. A senior center meal. A library event with refreshments. A community breakfast. A volunteer shift. Where people share snacks afterward. Not because you cannot eat alone. You can. You have. But because the human heart needs other voices sometimes. Even a simple good morning at a cafe can soften something. Even hearing dishes clatter around other people can remind you that you are still part of the world. Even sitting near life can help. And if going out is hard now, because of health, mobility, hearing, money, weather, or tiredness, connection can still come in smaller ways. A phone call during lunch, a standing Sunday video call, a handwritten note sent after breakfast, a photograph of your meal, texted to someone with the words, "Thought you'd get a kick out of this." A shared recipe, a memory, a small invitation, a small hello. You do not need a crowded table for a meal to hold connection. Sometimes one thread is enough to begin. And if no one comes today, if no one calls today, if the meal is still just you and the quiet, please do not let that quiet make you careless with yourself. Do not punish yourself with neglect. Do not make your plate smaller because you feel forgotten. Do not eat standing in the shadows every night, as if you are not worth the chair. Sit down when you can. Put the food on a plate when you can. Take one breath before the first bite. Let yourself receive the care, even if it came from your own hands. There is a quiet holiness in feeding yourself when life has become lonely. No one may applaud it. No one may see it, but it matters. It says, I am still someone who deserves tenderness. I am still someone worth keeping well. I am still here at the table of life. And maybe that is where the next chapter begins. Not with a full dining room, not with the old life returning, but with you sitting down, deciding that one plate still deserves love. And from there, perhaps one small connection, a call, a message, a neighbor, a lunch invitation, a familiar face at the diner, a church table, a park bench, a grandchild learning your recipe,
A friend from long ago.
who also eats alone and has been waiting for someone to say, would you like to share a meal sometime? There are more people eating alone than you think. Behind many doors, there is someone else making one cup of coffee, someone else opening a can of soup, someone else pretending the television is enough company, someone else wondering if they are the only one who feels this way. You are not the only one. And maybe one of the quietest ways we heal is by admitting that. Not dramatically, not with shame.
Just honestly,
I eat alone most days, and sometimes it hurts. That sentence deserves kindness, not judgment, not quick advice, kindness. Because eating alone most days can make a person very strong. But strength does not mean You do not miss company. Strength does not mean the empty chair never hurts. Strength does not mean you should have to swallow every meal with silence. So, to everyone over 65 who eats alone most days, I hope you feed yourself with more tenderness than efficiency. I hope you stop saving all the good dishes for company. I hope you remember that you are company too. I hope you let the old memories visit without letting them take all the air from the room. I hope you find one person, one place, one small ritual that makes a meal feel less like an ending and more like a moment of life still being lived. And tonight, when you sit down, whether it is soup, toast, leftovers, salad, eggs, or something simple from a box, I hope you pause
For just a second.
Look at the plate. Look at your hands. The same hands that have worked, held, cooked,
Cleaned.
comforted, carried, and cared. And for more than most people will ever know, those hands are still here. You are still here. And this meal, however simple, is not nothing. It is proof that life is still asking to be cared for. And you are part of that life. So please, do not disappear from your own table. Pull out the chair. Sit down. Take your time. Let the room be quiet. But do not let it tell you that you do not matter. You do matter. One plate can still hold dignity. One meal can still hold memory. One small invitation can still open a door. And one person eating alone is still a person worthy of warmth, nourishment, and love. If this message felt close to your heart, leave a simple "I'm at the table" in the comments. You do not have to explain your whole story. Just "I'm at the table" is enough.